Man, sales is tough. I'm just not cut out to be a salesperson. Have you ever felt that way? Selling doesn't need to be so difficult. My name is Harry Spate. I'm here to serve and to help you succeed. Join me as we discuss sales made easy.
They tend to vomit products at people in that case, and you're underselling yourself because the longer you let this macerate, the longer you have a genuine conversation with people, you're going to get down to the real emotional level where people's buying motives are. If you jump on the first thing you hear, we can help with that, we've got a great widget that does that,
right?
Then you probably missed the enormous issue that they have that's the biggest sale ever.
Yeah.
Just wait, just jump down, just be really, really inquisitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, slow it right down. A lot of people know me for this. Every time I can, in any presentation I do, I get in the famous inch by inch speech on any given Sunday, because it's so true. That's how winning in sales is done. Inch by inch, just nudge that needle forward. Don't ask for a June wedding.
No, I love it. What is the good word? So today I have all the way from the UK, United Kingdom, not United States, a new friend of mine who I met in Clubhouse by the name of Chris Dawson. Chris speaks a little differently than I do, but nonetheless, just because he sounds smarter doesn't mean he necessarily is. So anyway, I think he is, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. Chris comes with a boatload of sales experience. He's been in sales for upwards of 20 plus years. But in the last 10 or 12 years or so, he's been a director and leading sales training for a company called Door Ltd. And they work with tailored training and coaching solutions for really, it used to be UK businesses, but it's now global, ladies and gentlemen, because of Zoom and the way technology is. So Chris is great with businesses and helping them to get out and make some calls and to make things happen. So Chris Dawson, welcome to the Sales Made Easy podcast. What's the good word?
Hey, Harry, really appreciate you inviting me on. Really appreciate it. Cheers, pal.
Awesome. So it's great to have you. So Chris, can you tell us a little bit about what it is you do and what you're finding in the world of sales these days?
Yeah, sure. So businesses approach me when they have a sales team who are maybe struggling to fill that top of funnel. They're maybe either avoiding that cold outreach or they need to make it a bit more up to date. And I go in and meet the sales team. I listen to sales calls, meet the leaders, get that full 360 view on what's going on, and then design completely made to measure training, coaching, and mentoring around that to get people where they want to be.
Awesome. So you said to get salespeople up to date. What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big question, isn't it? Sales has always had some negative stereotypes, hasn't it, Harry? And hey, stereotypes come from somewhere, don't they? And it tends to be a real minority. But the world has really changed in the last few years, especially when it comes to cold outreach. People have been really switched off over the pandemic. Hey, our inbox is just filled with cold emails, didn't they? Nobody could get you on the phone. Everybody was, we're going to go to email. And now spam filters are just bulging. People are really turned off by old school sales practices. And I think more than ever, salespeople they've got to be cleverer. They've got to be creative. They've got to be all these words that I would have been fired for 20 years ago. If my bosses 20 years ago, 25 years ago had said, how are you going to be as a salesperson, Chris? And I'd said, humble, incredibly honest, down to earth, all these, I would have, pick a window and please leave. I would have been gone. Whereas this is now the backbone of modern selling. That mixed with creativity, mixed with technology. As a good friend of mine and business partner, Leon McCowan, says, you can't break the human algorithm. And I believe as good as the tech gets and the automation gets and the AI gets, we need that human element in there. And salespeople have got to be more on point than ever before, which might sound a prophet of doom or worrying. I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's an incredibly exciting time to be in sales.
Yeah, it's the game has definitely changed. And man, I so love what you just said about the empathy, the understanding. Can you elaborate a little bit? Why is that the case versus, being the hard closer, the bull in the china shop, which typically used to mean, the salesperson is going to be great. And those people are just disappearing now because no one wants to listen to them. So what's the other end of the side of the spectrum?
Yeah, so I mean, we here's the story: Wolf of Wall Street, Gordon Gekko, Boiler Room. We've got all these stereotypes in mind. We may have been the customer on the other end of this, and people are so au fait with it now. They can spot it coming, and what happens is we just push back. So, in technical terms, another good friend of mine, Steve Myers, said we create psychological reactants. Now, this very simply means when we in any way sense that our freedom to choose is being removed from us, or we're being cajoled or bamboozled in any way, we push right back. I don't know what it's like in the US. In the UK, we have a lot of the main high streets have charity collecting people, and they'll be there in a fluorescent yellow top with a clipboard, and they'll jump in front of shoppers as they go past. Oh, are you having a good day, madam? Oh, have you been shopping? And it's just terrible. And you see people physically put their hands out. No, leave me alone. And we do the same psychologically when we hear something we've heard 500 times before. We react the way we have 500 times before. So we need to get up to date. People want to buy into genuine people. If they just want to buy, if it's just a transactional sale, well, there's social media for that now. There's the internet, there's online shopping. We don't need that human interaction for that. And we've all developed this gland, if you wish, that pushes right back. We spot it away. We've got to update.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, so we'd rather run through traffic than talk to the bright yellow jackets with clipboards on the sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly.
Please get me out of here. I've seen, I've worked with your guy just down the street, or I already gave, right? We just want those people to go away because we are bombarded.
Well, this is it. There you go. I already gave. I've already spoke to you, mate. They're all lies, but we immediately, now they're creating a situation that makes you feel you have to lie your way out of it. This isn't a good start to any relationship, is it? Now I don't mean to be specifically picking on these people. It's the same in any walk of life. Your phone rings now, Harry, and you yeah, hello, how can I help you? You're in the, well, I know you wouldn't answer it right now, but say you're in the middle of you're doing your accounts, or you're talking to a member of your team, or you're at whatever. Hi, is that Harry? My name's Harry too. What? Oh, put your head in the bin. Yeah. How are you today? Although I know that's culturally biased, etc. Let's just be really real. Now, this is where our training comes in, the training I do. And I started the company over 10 years ago now. And its main leading value, if you wish, was straight talking. We deliver straight talking sales training.
So, wait a minute, straight talk. I don't know. That sounds like you're going to get right to the truth of the matter, and that things are going to be real. Can they handle this from salespeople?
They are terrified, Harry. Terrified. But you know what? It actually has the opposite effect. I'm running a course for the rest of the week with the company, and a lot of that is about opening a sales call, and it is just get to the point. Address the elephant in the room. Chris Voss in his great stuff says, what's their problem right now? Well, their problem is you. So address that. Right. Hey, Harry, we've never spoken before, and I know I'm an interruption to your day.
I love it.
So you know what? I'd love 30 seconds of your time, and it doesn't look like we're a good fit. You just give me a straight yes or a no.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, you're just getting to the reality there. That this is a sales call. No, how about this? When someone says, is this a sales call? Do you say, no, it's not a sales call? It doesn't sound like it.
So here we go. Let's do this right now, Harry. Is this a sales call? We've all heard it, haven't we? What do I hear? I listen to an awful lot of recorded calls to analyze them. And I hear, well, it's kind of really an introductory. Oh, put your head in the bin. It's a rhetorical question. They know it's a sales call. Go into the storm. Own that call. Mm-hmm. Is this a sales call? 100%. You
Right.
know what? I'd love to do business with you, Harry. That's exactly why I'm ringing you. But you know what? We might not be a right fit. This might not be relevant. Could we take 2 minutes? I'll find out a bit more about what you do. I'll tell you exactly what I'm after. If at that point it looks like we should talk further, we can. Great. If not, give me a simple yes or a no and I'll be on my way.
Yeah.
Own that call.
Yeah, it's great. So what other crazy things do you hear that people might be saying that you could say, you know what, that's not good. Like one we were talking about earlier is being really apologetic, right? There's a difference between permission and apologizing. So what's your thought on those two?
It's a nice way of putting it, Harry. I like that. So here's the thing. Value is the most overused word in sales at the moment. Drive with value, lead with value. It's all vacuous advice. But you have to be a valuable or perceived as a valuable interruption. So if I have something worth talking about, why would I be apologetic about it? I'm sorry to disturb you. Is it a good time? It's just a quick call.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm in the middle of something and my phone rings and it's just a quick call, well, that's probably not as valuable as what I'm currently doing. So I'm going to end that call. I want to do business with people that have conviction, that are humble enough and open enough to the fact that this might not be relevant, but hey, let's find out. If we're apologetic, you get emotional contagion. People will pick up on all those vibes you're giving out of you're not quite sure yourself, you're not that confident. Hey, if you don't believe in what you're selling, how is the person you're selling it to meant to believe in it? So it's not about being rude or bullshit or hard sell in any way. But if we use, and I use the term cautiously, but if we use weak language, then the person we're speaking to doesn't see the value in taking their time up with that. I want somebody to make me think, oh, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I'm going to give you 90 seconds to find out more. That's all I'm after.
Yeah.
If somebody says, well, it's just a quick call, I'm really sorry to disturb you, you're not a valuable interruption to my day. Go away.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So the word weak here, you mentioned to use that cautiously. What comes? So is the weak just being overly apologetic for? Is that what I'm getting here?
It's overly apologetic. It's low value language.
Okay.
So it's just a quick call. If you don't mind, is it a good time? And not just necessarily apologetic, but false. So here we go. Now there's a huge debate about this, isn't there?
Okay.
All over the world. How are you today? Would you use that in a call, Harry?
Not anymore. I probably did. I mean, so years ago, I did, but the world has changed, right? So how are you today is just not, it's a waste of, in my opinion.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I spoke to people all over the planet on this, the same as yourself on Clubhouse. We did 220 Clubhouse rooms last year discussing these things. And it turns out it's actually very cultural based that in Germany, if you asked how are you today, they'd love you for it and they'll give you a straight answer and it'll start a conversation.
Yeah.
In the UK, if you phoned somebody up and said, oh, hey, Harry, how are you today? All you'd be met with, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Really
right. Yeah. And that's where I come from. So that is a great point. And I just want to interrupt just a little. Is that, if that's okay, do I have permission to interrupt a little?
You go for it.
Okay. But how are you today in a city where I was, small town, one thing, city, get to the point, right? So is that kind of where you were going?
Kind of, and it's not really about I mean, if I spoke to somebody before and there's a relationship there, it's quite a nice thing to say. That's okay. It's the fact that it's disingenuous. Do you actually care how they are?
Yeah, no.
You don't. Therefore, immediately you are only saying it to achieve something, and that will trigger psychological reactance. That will internally, at a subconscious level, that prospect's going to push right back.
Yeah.
It's like if I phoned you up and, Harry, hey, how's the weather where you are? Why would you phone a stranger up to ask about it? So it's disingenuous, therefore you're trying to cajole someone, therefore you'll trigger psychological reactance.
Yeah, exactly. So if I get a call from someone who is prospecting and they say, how are you today? I'm like, what's up? It's
Yeah.
the, because they don't know me. I mean, I'm just a name. I am a name in somebody's CRM. They have no idea what my history is, no idea my family is. They probably didn't research anything. And I get the same stuff on LinkedIn where everything is available. I mean, you can find pretty much anything about me and people will still say these silly things in a message. It's like, do you look at the profile at all before you do any outreach?
Oh, well, I mean, here's another pet hate. So the same as on a phone call, how are you today? On an email or a LinkedIn DM, I hope you're well.
Yeah. I hope you're well.
Just stop it. Just stop it.
Well, all right. So I got to pick on LinkedIn a little bit for that because there's an automated response, right? When you're direct messaging someone and I just changed I put my podcast on, I updated it and I got all these congratulatory remarks. And so one of it was, so I'm thanking people as I'm going through. And then the next line is, I hope you're well. And I'm not clicking on, I'm hoping you're well, because what kind of statement is that? No, I'm sick or something. It's like, it's the automation. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense, right? What's your thought?
Yeah, it's birthdays. It was my birthday a few months ago and I got a load of DMs on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I could spot which ones were the auto messages. And I actually thought there is no soul in that, is there? You don't genuinely wish me a happy birthday. You've done one click. There you go.
Exactly.
I mean, it's petty of me, isn't it? But in sales, that's the principle of it. Is it genuine? Is it humble? Is this coming from a good place? Because if it's not, it perpetuates the myth that people buy people that they like, and they just don't. We buy from people that we trust. And the second we're disingenuous, we break trust. There's loads of people in the world I like, absolutely love them, lovely people, wouldn't do business with them.
Yeah.
There's got to be trust there, and this is where this disingenuousness comes from.
Yeah. So let's just talk about that here on the trust factor. How can you gain that on the first conversation, or what's your thought process as to some, like, where people feel like they've got to sell early and they feel like they've got to do all this on really the first conversation? Is that the way you see things, or can that take time, or what's your thought?
No, let's be honest, there's a lot of varying factors on this of ticket item, sector.
Yeah, so we're in, should I clarify? So
clarify.
Business to business, let's talk about business to business. And it's not a one call, it's a higher ticket item, right? Where someone's going to have to make an investment versus, something that's like buying a commodity. So let's put it in that scenario.
So we see this so much that as I class it, people asking for a June wedding on a first date. You've just got to, I've just interrupted your day and you expect me to make a big decision in 10 minutes from never having known you before. Now, I don't necessarily mean a buying decision, but could we come and see you for an hour and a half? That's a big decision. Yeah,
exactly.
Can you introduce me to your chief exec? Whoa, these are big decisions. And we're asking people tend to rush the sales process when they've got that bit of desperation to them. If anything, I'm a fan of slowing it right down. Tiny little request, would it be crazy for us to get 10 minutes to look into this further sometime? Tiny little request, and then we can inch by inch towards the whole. But yeah, I see it a lot. People really rushing that sales process. They tend to vomit products at people in that case, and you're underselling yourself, because the longer you let this macerate, the longer you have a genuine conversation with people, you're going to get down to the real emotional level where people's buying motives are. If you jump on the first thing you hear, we can help with that, we've got a great widget that does that,
right?
Then you probably missed the enormous issue that they have, that is your biggest sale ever. Yeah. Just wait, just jump down, just be really, really inquisitive with people. Yes, slow it right down. a lot of people know me for this. Every time I can, in any presentation I do, I get in the famous inch by inch speech from any given Sunday, because it's so true. That's how winning in sales is done. Inch by inch. Just nudge that needle forward and don't ask for a June wedding on a first date.
No, I love it. Yeah. So you mentioned, so I love this conversation. So just as we're going into the conversation, as you're having a conversation with somebody, a trigger happens where they say that there's a problem. Salespeople and any entrepreneur for that matter says, I can fix that. Right. So they're saying immediately, I can fix that. You're saying be inquisitive.
Yeah.
Right. So let's chat about what that means.
Let's dig down on that a bit. It's a great point, Harry. So somebody says, right, we've got this problem. It's all right, I've got a cure for that. So yeah. imagine going to your doctor. Why have you come here today? Doctor, I've got a headache. Great. I've got some pills for that. Take 2 of these.
Yeah.
And off you go.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting a bit more, Doc, actually. What does the doctor do? He says, all right, tell me more about that. Where in the head is the headaches? How long have they been going on for? What's it stopping you from doing? Is there a family history of headaches? What have you done to try and get rid of this headache before?
I love
how
it.
Intense. And they go on and on and on.
Yeah.
Only when they've really got a good idea of your world,
right,
they may offer you a solution. Or they'll go, you know what, for what you said, I need to go and have a think. And maybe we need to book you in with a consultant.
Yeah.
That's the point you panic, isn't it? Oh, my head's going to fall off or something. But so let's translate this into the SDR world, the cold outreach world is, well, actually, yeah, we do have an issue with that. Right, well, we've got the solution and we're an award-winning company and we were established in 19. Oh, stop. Okay. Yeah. Tell me about that. How important is solving that to you right now? Who else is solving this important to your company? Tell me about your decision-making process. What have you tried to solve this before? What do you currently use to do that? If we had a solution that worked, what would that have to have achieved for you in 6 months' time? Go really get to understand that world. Only then come back, because that builds trust.
Yeah, that's so great. I was just talking to somebody in sales and they were saying how they had people were canceling meetings on them a lot. And, I asked, well, what do you think is the reason they're doing that? Knowing that they don't see that there's value, right? So if they thought there was value, and again, I'm probably overusing the word. I'm really nervous because I use it a lot. So can we come up with another word instead of value?
Value is fine. If they see something that is valuable to them, which is fine. We get that. Yeah. That's
so, okay. So sometimes we're asking for the follow-up or whatever the next step is prematurely, where they have not elaborated enough and they have no idea that we're going to solve what they're talking about. And they can just lump us in with everything else that they've looked at and tried in the past that failed. And so if by your elaboration and being inquisitive, you're getting all of this stuff out on the table in the open, right?
It's you're finding there's I can't remember who said it. It was in our clubhouse room last year. Somebody said the whole goal of a sales interaction is to find the goddamn truth. And at the time I thought, oh, okay, it sounds lovely. And then I thought about it. I thought, that's so true. That's so right. What's really going on here? What really is the issue? I could come in to solve your problem and then wonder why you don't turn up for the meeting, because I didn't find out that it's not that big a problem.
Right.
I'm coming in with a £5,000 solution to your £500 problem. You're not even going to take the meeting. And let's remember, the prospects you speak to, the customers you speak to, they're not just after a solution to the problem. What they're also after is somebody to listen to them, somebody to understand them, somebody to make them feel that they get it. Oh, I get that. Somebody to genuinely look at all the possibilities with them and be a partner with them, not just a solution.
Oh my goodness.
Peg stuff. Now, if you can make somebody feel that you're that person, you're gonna take that relationship to the next level. And I say feel kind of overemphasized there, because sales are all made on feelings, not logic. So here's a solution. As we said, let's go right back to the doctor. I've got a headache. Take these. Goodbye. How do you feel? Oh, I don't really trust that doctor. I might get a second opinion. I want the doctor to ask me all these questions and get to know me.
Right.
And I want him to ask me the awkward questions.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? So it's sort of like when someone says they have a good doctor and you say, well, what makes them a good doctor? And the response is, well, they've got a great bedside manner, or they really care. Right. It's not like, well, because they have a great degree at Harvard or whatever the school is in the UK,
they give me the best drugs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So this conversation I love it. And so there's a question that popped in my mind about why people want to see us in the first place. And I get bombarded with, I'd like to learn more about you. And to me, there's no value in, again, I'm using the value word, but if I don't see something, why, I don't care that you want to learn more about you and 27 other people DM'd me and emailed me and called me and said, I want to learn more about you. So what do you think of this approach?
Yeah, but they don't, do they? And this is where psychological this is a classic example of psychological reactance in its truest form. Hi, I'd like to learn more about you. No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you want to sell me something. I know you do. I prefer you to say, you know what? I've got a great idea that I think could help you, but I might be wrong. Can we have 5 minutes to find out?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay. I love your honesty. I love your brutality and your humbleness. We'll have that. Chris, I'd like to learn more about you. And then what? Because we're not on a dating website here.
Yes.
This isn't, so they're kind of only doing half the process. What they're saying is, I'd like to do some discovery with you so I can find out how I'm going to sell it to you.
Right.
I get that. And we feel that at a subconscious level. Just tell the truth.
Yeah. So if we're any buyer, anyone involved in the sales cycle should not meet just based on that. Right. So why don't we just throw that line out that I'd like to learn more about you, because there's no value in it. And it doesn't say anything that we could reach the person. So it's like that empty, how are you today? Right. To a complete stranger. It's just this empty talk that just wastes time, really.
Imagine looking at it this way, and the information is out there now. It's at our fingertips, isn't it? Harry, I'm really keen to speak to you because I know that you deliver this amazing podcast, Sales Made Easy. Yeah. I know that
I'm liking you
on Clubhouse. Yeah. Tell them things that you know.
Yeah.
Now I've worked with loads of people on Clubhouse and I've got an idea that would it be crazy for us to have 5 minutes to discuss?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, tell me things you know. Hypnotists do this. This is how people get hypnotized. They tell people things that are absolutely 100% true. I know that you do this. I know that you do that, which made me think this might help you.
Yeah.
So if you think, I don't know, have you ever been hypnotized, Harry?
No, not knowingly.
Shazam. Well,
maybe I just was.
Well, this will sound familiar to you. So the hypnotist will sit you opposite them and they'll kind of mimic your body language. And then they'll say a few things that are absolutely 100% true. So it would be, Harry, as you sit there with your headphones on and a bookshelf behind you, and you'll be like, your brain goes, that's absolutely true. You'll probably start to become slightly aware of how your glasses feel just on the bridge of your nose. Well, you weren't, but now they're pointing it out, you are. And they'll keep listing things that are definitely true and then slip in one that isn't. And as you start to be really aware of how your headphones feel rested on your ears, as you start to just feel a little bit sleepy. Now, that's not true, but everything else was true. So your brain goes with it.
Wow.
Now, if somebody phones you up or contacts you and says, look, I know you do this, and I've seen that you're currently recruiting, so I take it you're trying to do this. I've got a crazy idea that's worked for lots of other people in that situation. Could we share 5 minutes to discuss it?
Yeah.
It's creating that pattern. Don't say, I want to find out more about you. Tell me what you already know.
Yeah. Interesting. What's your thought about people who are just contacting every entrepreneur out there and solopreneur about lead gen? Because it seems like it's all lead gen these days. Is there another way to approach that?
Oh, could you be more specific, Harry?
Yeah. So we help companies with generating leads.
Okay.
Right. That's what I hear all the time. So what are these people doing wrong? Just by saying what they do? Is that a challenge in your mind?
That's it. They're saying what they do. Here's some real, anybody in sales listening, here's some real brutal truth for you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you do. Nobody cares about you, because we live under our own spotlights. The spotlight effect, isn't it? Yeah, we spend 95% of our waking day thinking about ourselves. Some people 99%. Yeah. And if you reach out to somebody to tell them about your spotlight, it just bounces off because they're under theirs. Reach out. That's another phrase I hate, actually. I apologize. Reach out. But reach out to people about their spotlight.
Yeah.
So lead gen isn't what you're selling. You're selling what you're left with after you've bought their lead gen. So a lot of people are approaching us at the moment, Harry, to say that they're getting really frustrated with low quality data for the cold outreach teams. And they're fed up of wasting a lot of time on money chasing people that aren't their ideal customer profile. I don't know whether that rings true with yourself, Harry. Right there, that's their spotlight. That's a real after effect for them.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Right.
Not, well, you know what? We believe we've got a solution for this. It's worked for a lot of other companies. It might not be relevant for you, but I'd love 10 minutes in the diary to show you how it works in case it is.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So I switch gears just a little bit. What's your thought about people who are challenged and making calls? I know you work with salespeople, but even some salespeople, when they're in the, where they're fairly successful, they've hit their, what they think is the comfort zone. How do you get these people making calls again? Or do you see that as a challenge, where they just don't feel like they need to anymore?
I think we said this before we started recording, didn't we, Harry? You're either green and growing or you're ripe and beginning to rot. If you have anybody in your team who says things like, there's nothing you can teach me about sales, or I know everything there is about this, I don't need to do that anymore, it's a huge warning sign, isn't it? Prospecting isn't an entry-level sales job. It isn't something that you should have other people doing.
Oh my goodness.
You may have other people doing it for you as well. You've got to own this. And
beautiful.
Always be prospecting. It's not always be closing anymore.
No.
Always be prospecting. Or you're going to get that seesaw or roller coaster results coming through. And yeah, I have this. There is burnout in sales, and I get it. And that's a leadership issue more than anything else. And you've got to own this yourself issue. But yeah, you've got to prospect.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things mentally that to help overcome that, right? Was the way you perceive prospecting, I think would be a good place to start. So going back to our conversations that we just had, is that when you're apologetic and you think that it's a bad use of time for the buyer or the potential prospect, then of course that's not going to be helpful. And it's going to, your attitude going in isn't good. And then people are probably so out of shape when it comes to prospecting too, right? That if they haven't done it in a long time, then it's like they feel like it's for rookies only. So
prospecting's got to be in the muscle. It's got to be a second nature reflex, because it's the hard end of the sales pipeline, isn't it? Sales are made on emotion, and there is nothing more emotional than doing cold outreach, because if 50 times that day you're going to get told to go away, not interested, we spoke before, and other things that we won't say on your podcast, Harry, then, I think the worst advice I was ever given in sales, and people are still being given it, is don't take it personally. Well, thing is, you're going to. You are going to take it personally. And if you've been taught that if you take it personally, you're doing it wrong, then that's just going to compound the problem. I would say just accept You are going to take it personally some days because it's in the feelings. It's an emotive sport, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Build a strategy on how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go, oh, I shouldn't take it personally, because you will.
Right. Yeah.
And if you don't, are you really a human being? No, you're probably a piece of AI.
No, it's interesting. I did a podcast a while back with a person who dealt with self-talk. And he said that every time we hear the word no, it actually has a negative influence on us. And he said there's no other industry like sales where you hear no more than anybody. And so it's got to impact us. And yeah, I've said don't take it personally, but I like it where you're saying, learn how to deal with it. So one of how do you help people to learn how to deal with the no's, hearing those?
So it's a huge subject, isn't it? And I'm definitely going to listen to the podcast where you spoke to this guy. Yeah, things you need to look out for, triggers. First of all, we believe the lies we tell ourselves. So there's 3 voices in every sale. There's what you say to your prospect, what they say back to you, and what that little voice in your head tells you. And it's that 3rd voice that will make or break it. Mm-hmm. So anytime I'm working with somebody who, let's say, is in a slump or they're feeling it a little bit, one of the best things you can do is strip everything out. Mm-hmm. Simplify everything. That negative self-talk will make you think that you need to do something clever to get better. Mm-hmm. So you overcomplicate everything. What you really need to do is go and listen to your calls, as you should do all the time anyway. Review yourself. What can you throw out that hot air balloon? If the balloon's going down, throw stuff overboard. Strip that call right back and make it super simple. The less you say, the less there is to object to, the less negativity that you're going to get. Then look at who you're calling and your messaging. Is it laser focused? Is it relevant for people? Or are you just saying the same stuff to anybody that you happen to have data on? Make sure that you think, no, actually, I've got the right to make this outreach because it's a good idea. Yeah. Kind of sell yourself on it, strip everything out, and then 3, 2, 1, go. Don't call, don't stop.
We get a coffee or tea first.
Yeah, always a cup of tea. Sales is made on cups of tea. But yeah, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. Nice and simple, straight to the point, simple outreach.
Yeah.
And go and get it in the muscle and ask for help. Yeah. I think I did a post on LinkedIn earlier this year because people were asking, what's your New Year's resolution and that? I'm just not going to be as fat as I am right now or whatever. But I said, if you're in sales, resolution for you this year, be bold enough to ask for the business, but humble enough to ask for help.
Oh, nice.
Don't think you need to know it all. Go and ask for help.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing too is that sales is changing. So people who are status quo, stay the same. I like what you said. If you're not growing, you're rotting. And, we got to look in the mirror. It's just, the glory days are behind us. What do we, just like in you have a great month, great quarter. Someone says, well, yeah, the line is, what have you done for me lately in the new month or new quarter? But man, when we're talking years ago, and I did my share of prospecting years ago, and I'm too old for that, or I don't need to do it anymore. It's just,
enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a sport. It's great. It's the bedrock of business. In the UK, I've been doing loads of research into this. Into the UK, sales professionals, people who have sales as their job title, are directly responsible for 44% of GDP.
Yeah. Yeah. You drive the economy.
We literally drive the economy.
Yeah.
If you work in a business and you're a salesperson, every other department doesn't exist without you. Own it. Be proud of it.
Love it. Excellent. This is great stuff, Chris Dawson. So for more of you, where can people go and find your brilliance, sir?
Easiest places to go. There's 3. LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. Just look for me, Chris Dawson, on LinkedIn, director of 6 Door, host of the Sales Dojo podcast. You can also listen to the Sales Dojo podcast, but I'm not going to plug our podcast on your podcast.
That's fine. I love it.
Or go to www.6door, which is the number 6 THDOOR.com. There's more about me on there. Yeah, LinkedIn. You'll find me all
Yeah.
over LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn.
Awesome. And Clubhouse. This is where you and I met. Are you still on that?
Yeah. So last year I hosted a room called Sales and Selling Daily with Leon McCowan. We did 220 rooms just last year.
Oh my goodness.
We did every night, Monday to Friday, every week without fail. This year, I realized I was probably going to get divorced, and the dog wouldn't talk to me if I carried on doing that. So it's now been stripped back to just Monday nights. It's not me. I've taken a back seat from that now. It's the great Leon McCowan and Susie host Sales and Selling Daily, which is UK time, 7 till 8 p.m. every Monday. Different topic directly to do with sales and selling. Or you've got the Sales Dojo podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify. We have chats with people who are similarly incredibly enthusiastic about sales. We'd love to have you on there one day, Harry, as well.
Awesome. I'd love to. And the person that I was mentioning earlier is Shad Helmstetter. Shad as in the fish, Shadrach, I think was his full name. Okay. He's a fellow he came across this idea of positive self-talk because he learned about I think it was in 1960, somewhere in there, about the Eastern European swimmers or something like this that just kept telling themselves how great they were. And then he started adopting it years later, and the rest is history. He wrote several books. He was on Oprah, but quite a character. But that whole idea of that negative self-talk, I mean, that's a great conversation in itself. So highly recommend that you find Shad, and he's out there, and he was on our Lead Sell Grow podcast for those who are listening with Eric Conavoliv. So anyway, Chris Dawson, this has been a real pleasure. Keep things going, drive that UK and global economy. I love what you're doing. So thanks a lot for making an appearance here with me and having this great conversation.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Harry. Thanks a million, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Okay. Man, sales is tough. I'm just not cut out to be a salesperson. Have you ever felt that way? Selling doesn't need to be so difficult. My name is Harry Spate. I'm here to serve and to help you succeed. Join me as we discuss sales made easy.